Dear students and working accountants, welcome to my Expert Tally Frame YouTube channel. My name is Barbara from Hyderabad. So today in this video, we are going to discuss about the GST. So I'm giving introduction of the GST. Okay. So far up to the last video, so we have discussed about the entries. So previously entries without, that is without inventory, how to make the entries, and then with inventory, how to make the entries. That is what we discussed. I am sharing. See here in the up to the last video, we made the entries without inventory. Now, see for example, so we completed this one. We use Ramakrishna Electronics. So in this one, so we passed entries without tax but with inventory. See all these purchases, sales, and purchases, sales, then debit note, credit note means purchase return, sales return. For these, these are the entries to be passed for the inventory. For example, when you make the entry, so here, this is the payment. So, for example, purchases. We made purchases. So this is the name of item is item invoice. We enter the details of the goods. This is the entry with that is the purchase entry with inventory. Similarly, we made entry for sales. So for sales also, we made the entry with inventory, that is details of the goods with inventory. But actually, every purchase and sale or every transaction of sale of goods and services, in the case of purchase or sale of goods and services, so GST is applied. GST is to be calculated on the purchases or sales. When you sell, we calculate the GST on the sales. And when you purchase, the seller, he will calculate the tax on the GST on the goods and he will send the invoice. So that we have to pay. So every invoice, that is every sales invoice for the seller, you will call it as purchase. For sale and purchase, GST is to be applied. So in this case, GST is the same thing. Simply, this is the entry. We make the entry, and after all the, that is after the services or after all the goods, that all the inventory will come down here. So after this, it will come to the next line. So if there is another item, we will enter. Otherwise, again entry will come down to the total. Here we have to calculate and we have to charge the GST. So now today we are going to learn about the GST. That is what we call it as the introduction to what is GST and everything about the GST we will discuss. And after that, in the next video, we will see how to implement the GST. That is how to activate and implement GST in Tally Prime. That is in Tally Prime, how to purchases, sales, debit or credit, how to charge the GST. So everything about the details about the GST we will learn now, discussing this. So in this case, we go to that. But actually, what is the full form of GST which you are going to learn? The full name is Goods and Services Tax. Goods and Services Tax. That is, tax is to be charged, tax is to be calculated on the goods as well as services. The goods we calculate as inventory also. So goods and services tax is to be calculated. So that is called, that's why the tax is called Goods and Services Tax. So in actually India, what is meant by tax? That is, for every transaction, monetary transaction, for the monetary transaction, the amount, any amount payable payable by the people to the government to run the government, because the government has to collect money from the people to run the government. So that money paid by the government, by the people to the government is called tax. So actually in India previously, The taxes are of two types. One is direct tax and another one is indirect tax. What is the meaning of direct tax? Direct tax means the tax will be paid by the people directly to the government from their pocket. Directly it will be paid to the government. That is called as direct taxes. For example, income tax. So on the income earned by the people during the year, at the end of year, they have to pay tax to the government. The tax is called as income tax. So from their pocket, they will pay directly to the government. That's why it's called as direct tax. And indirect tax means the people only will pay. The people will pay the tax, but it will not be paid by the people directly to the government. That will be paid through through another person. For example, we purchase some goods. On the goods, we have to pay tax. That's called GST. GST or any tax, some tax sales for the sales is to be paid. So the tax is paid by the buyer, but actually the tax will not be paid to the government directly. How the tax is paid is the seller will give the invoice with the price of the goods and the tax. So totally he will give the invoice. It is called as the total invoice value, including the goods value. That's called goods value and tax. So that will be. So we will pay the total bill amount to the seller. That includes tax also, GST, whatever it may be. It includes the tax on the goods. Also, it includes that is paid to the seller, and seller will pay to the government in our name. So collected from so and so person, sold to so and so person, from him we collected this tax from that particular person. So in our name, that how will be paid, that will come across later. So that will be paid to the government on behalf of us. So the people are not going to pay to the government directly, but it will pay to the seller, and the seller will pay to the government the tax. That is called as indirectly we are paying. We are paying the tax, but indirectly through others we are paying. It is called as indirect taxes. So in India previously, there are direct taxes. There are many types of direct taxes like income tax, wealth tax, estate duty, and some more taxes. So all the taxes were there. And indirect taxes, there are many taxes. For each state, there was a sales tax act. For each state, it is called as, it is also GST, not this one. That GST means general sales tax for every state. AP GST, Telangana GST, Karnataka GST, Karnataka GST, Tamil Nadu TN GST, like that. For each state, the general sales tax lot there. So their sales tax, and central government also will collect some sales tax. It is called CST, entry tax, purchase tax. Like that, there were many taxes. They will be paid by the people to other persons. They will pay to the government. They are called as indirect taxes and sales tax. And after that, instead of sales tax, some other tax is introduced in all the states, called as VAT, value added tax. It is also a state tax. So every state will have their VAT act, like GST, General Sales Tax Act. Every state will have a VAT act. So every state will charge the VAT, but the rates, everything depends on the states. Like this, these are all the indirect taxes. And then later, so instead of all these taxes, what they did is the government, all the direct taxes, they are all merged into one. Only one tax is implemented now. It is called as, in the direct taxes, it is called as income tax, and it is called as income tax. So in India at present, direct tax is income tax. The income tax is implemented, it is administration is looked after. That is how the Income Tax Act is implemented in India. It is looked after by a board called CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. Central Board from the beginning. Central Board of Direct Taxes. It is looking after the Income Tax Act. For the indirect taxes, also all these indirect taxes, they are all merged into one, and it is named as Goods and Services Tax. Goods and Services Tax. So for all the states, whole India, the tax is one that says every state cannot charge whatever they like. The tax will be as per the Goods and Services Tax Act. So one tax for the whole of India. That is the slogan is one nation, one tax. One country, one tax. But it's not actually true because in the indirect taxes, there is one VAT is there. So in this case, in the goods and services tax, all that goods as well as services come out of this. But two types of goods, they are not brought into the GST. That is liquor for human consumption, petrol, diesel, petroleum products, petrol, diesel, and petrol, diesel, and alcohol for human consumption. They are not brought into the GST. It is given in the GST Act that they will be brought in under the GST from the date notified by the government. So till now, the government has not notified. That is why GST is not applicable on those two. But how the tax is collected for those two? The old VAT is collected. So VAT is also in force in India for those two only petroleum products like diesel and petrol and alcohol for human consumption. VAT is applicable. So GST and VAT are available, but they are available only for two goods. That is why it is a minimum. That is why it is given as the slogan, one nation, one tax. So, okay. So this is what is GST. And then when it is introduced in India, first of all, this GST is implemented by many countries. First of all, the first country in the world which implemented the GST is France. France it implemented the GST from 1954. In India, it is implemented from 1/7/2017. Actually, in 2000, Atal Bihari Vajpayee muted this concept, that is GST concept. He muted and he tried to implement, but due to the opposition parties and all these things, he is not able to implement. That's all. And then next government is Congress government, and this Congress government also tried to implement this. The Congress also failed. It is also tried, but Congress government also failed. And at last, after that, Narendra Modi from 2014, Narendra Modi government. So they wanted to implement this, and the act is made and everything is done, and it is implemented from 1/7/2017. That is 1st July 2017. From 1st July 2017, this is implemented by Narendra Modi government. Actually, they wanted to implement. But in India, the accounting year is called as financial year, 1st April to next year, 31st March. So 2017, 1st April onwards, they wanted to implement, but due to some problems, because the previous regime, VAT, all the persons registered in that, they have to measure, they have to migrate to the GST, they have to migrate, as well as for all the work to be done, that is related to GST, all that one, there is one website for implementing this one called as portal. The portal or website called Common Portal for the GST. So GST in the Common Portal. So for making it without error free, so to make it perfect took some time. That is why it is postponed from April and implemented from 1st July. And one more thing, the indirect taxes GST. Now the GST is implemented by another board. This is CBDT, direct taxes. This is CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. These customs are not for the people. The customs are for the imports. Customs are charged on the import of goods from the other countries. It is applicable. So it is an indirect tax, but it is not applicable to the people living in India. It is applicable on the goods which are imported from other countries. Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Okay, and this is the thing. And this is implemented in India. So 1954, France implemented, and from 1/7/2017, Narendra Modi implemented this. And in the world, totally at present, 160 plus countries are following this GST. That is, they are implementing GST. Okay. In the GST, the tax is collected by the government. So on the basis of the who collect the tax, that is central government is there, different state governments are there. So depending on the government's collecting the tax structure is of two types. One is dual structure, another one is unified structure. Means dual structure means the state government as well as the central government, both the governments in separate, that we will learn how they both the government, state government and central government, they collect the tax, GST they collect. That is why dual, state as well as central. That is why this structure is called dual structure in the world. India, Canada and Brazil. Only these three countries are following the dual structure, state government and central government. And other cases, second one is unified structure means both the governments will have the only one tax will be collected. That is collected by the government only. One government, that is head of the government, that is head of the country, central government, that union government. So in different countries, it is called as different names. Okay. So only that total tax is collected by one government is only, that is called as unified structure, except these three. All our countries in the world, they follow the unified structure. So in India, we require dual structure. What is that? We will learn it. And then, so for implementing this and for all the purposes of the GST, the people have to use a portal. I mean, they have to use a website of the government. That is website of the Goods and Services Tax Department. It is called, as I told you, common portal. The address is www.gst.gov.in. This is the portal of the government. Okay. Okay. It is the portal. And then, so when it is introduced and how it is done. And then, here, every person, that is every person doing the business, that is every business, they have to get for the purpose of this GST, after introduction of GST, introduction of GST, every person doing the business, where is selling or purchasing goods or services. So every person, they will have to get registration under the government, under the GST Act. They have to get in this portal. Every work is to be done in this. In this portal, we have to get registration. We have to get registration. Okay. So registration, we have to get. And for the registration, what are the rules for registration? Means every person doing the business in India, if there is some turnover, means sales turnover limit is prescribed. That limit is called threshold limit. That limit is called threshold limit. So if the turnover crosses the threshold limit, they have to get registration under the GST Act. So for the purpose of the threshold limit, the states, Indian states, all the states in India, they are divided into two types. One is normal category states and another one is special category states. There are many special category states, but for this purpose of this Act, at present, these four, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, etc. For these four states only, now they are taken as special category states for the purpose of this GST Act. All other states, that is, even though there are some more, Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Assam, there are many other also. They are also special category states, but for this purpose of this Act, they are taken as normal states only for this purpose. So all other country, states, all other states except this special category states, they are called as normal category states. So what is the limit for this? And for the purpose of the limit, so states are divided into normal category and special category. And also, so the persons who cross the threshold limit, they have to get registration. So for this purpose, So in the normal category states, all the regular normal category states, if for the purpose of this, what you call for registration, in the registration, so if they cross the threshold limit, they have to get registration. For the purpose of the registration, when you are getting the registration, there are two schemes in the registration. One is regular scheme, another is composition scheme. Regular scheme and composition scheme. Okay, so every reason that threshold limit is for goods only, directly only, exclusively they are dealing with goods, then the limit is 40 lakhs, the turnover 40 lakhs. If the turnover limits, the threshold limit turnover 40 lakhs is crossed, the persons have to get registration. If there are services also, only services or goods and services, whatever it may be, if there are services also, the limit is 20 lakhs. So 40 lakhs are only goods, 20 lakhs if there are services also. This is the threshold limit. If the turnover crosses this limit, so everyone, they have to get registration. But when you are getting the registration, this is the limit, you have to get registration, no problem. But when you are getting the registration, there are two schemes in the registration. One is regular scheme, another one is composition scheme. This regular and composition scheme, these two schemes, they prescribe the maximum limit, that is maximum turnover. So this is the minimum turnover, 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs. If the turnover is crossed, they have to get registration. In any case, in the registration, there are two schemes. These schemes have maximum limit. Okay, so one is regular, another is composition. For regular scheme, there is no maximum limit. So persons, when they are getting registration, if they cross 40 lakhs, they are getting registration. When they are getting registration, if they opt for the regular scheme, they can register as a regular dealer. So there will be no maximum. You can do any crores and crores of rupees business you can do. There is no maximum limit. So minimum is 40-20, but there is no maximum limit for the regular scheme. The second one is composition scheme. This composition scheme is meant for the small business people. That is why if you want to register under this scheme, but both are registered. Regular is registered, composition also registered. If they are registering means it is a registered dealer, regular dealer without any maximum limit. Minimum limit is 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, definitely for both. But maximum, regular dealers, there is no maximum limit. They can do the business by any number of crores also. But composition dealers, they are meant for this composition scheme is meant for small business people. So in this case, the minimum is 40-20, no problem. They have to get registration. If they go for this scheme, the maximum should not exceed 1.5 crore. They are meant for small people because the restrictions are less. We will learn about this later, but the minimum is 40 for everyone. But regular scheme, there is no maximum limit you can do in any business to the tune of any crores. But in the case of composition scheme, the turnover should not exceed 1.5 crore. So at the time of registration, so our business is we expect that we can do a lot of business, so we can take regular scheme. And if you see, our business will not cross 1.5. Our business will be less than 1.5 crore for 1 year. That's why for yearly. So then we can go for composition scheme because 1.5 crores means is considered as small business. More than 1.5 crores means a large business. This is the composition. Okay, so these are the countries. And okay, so this is the normal category, and that is the normal category, regular scheme and composition scheme. For the normal category states, this is the regular limit for the regular scheme, and for composition scheme, this is maximum limit is 1.5 crore. Okay, but in the case of special category states, I told you in this case of these states, in this case, for the regular, the minimum balance, minimum threshold limit is for goods only 20 lakhs and services also 10 lakhs. So half of this 20, 10. This is prescribed for the special category states. That is the minimum amount. So under the minimum amount, so there will be no maximum for regular dealers. They have to get registration. For composition dealers, is the minimum amount. But composition dealers, the maximum is 1.5 crore here in the normal category. In the special category, maximum limit is 75 lakhs. Half of this 1.5 crore, 75 lakhs is the maximum limit for the composition. So less than that, we can use composition. We can or if it goes beyond that, we cannot be composition dealer. We will be regular dealer. Here, regular dealer 40 minimum, maximum is no limit, and composition 1.5. In this case also, for regular no maximum limit. For composition it is 75 lakhs is the maximum limit. The minimum is 20, 10, 40, 20 for anyone. We have to get registration. Okay. And then when a dealer, so they have to get the registration. So sometimes even though the limit is not crossed, so there is no necessity to get registration. So the persons whose turnover does not exceed the limit, the threshold limit, then he will not get registration. Then they are called as unregistered persons. So if they register either regular dealers or composition dealers, they are called as registered persons. They are registered under the Act. If the limit is not crossed, we will not register means in such a case, you are called as unregistered person. You called as unregistered person. Called as unregistered person. Okay. So this is so registered, unregistered. In the registered, regular and the composition. Okay. Now, so yes, in some cases, even though the limit is not crossed, they have to get registration. Without crossing the limit also, compulsory registration is called. For example, the businesses who are selling the pan masala, utkas are bad, pan masala, as well as ice creams, tobacco products, and bricks they are making the brick for ash, for making the bricks, the ash, all these businesses, and also persons who are supplying to goods, supplying the goods, are selling the goods in other states, supplying the goods in other states, not in our state. In our state as well as in other states, interstate it's called. If they supply the goods, then without the limit, they have to get registration compulsorily. They have to get the registration compulsorily if they're not crossing the limit also. So registered people may be composition or regular. Unregistered people means there is no one type. They are unregistered. They don't have any registration. So GST is not applicable to them. So if they are registered, they have to follow the Act. They have to collect the GST and they have to pay. Unregistered people, they does not come under the GST Act. They need not collect the tax. They need not pay anything to the government. Okay. So after registration, and one more thing is, some people, so making some particular type of business, even though the limit is not crossed, they have to get registration. So ours is normal business. Ours is not the other particular type of business. Our business is a normal business. Still, our limit is not crossed. So we need to get registration. I can be an unregistered person. Even though I can voluntarily, I can get registration. The limit is not crossed. I need not get registration, but still I want registration and I get registration. So that is called as voluntary registration. So without crossing the threshold limit also, I can get the registration. It is called as voluntary registration. So whatever it may be, regular dealer or composition dealer or voluntary registration. Registered means is the registered person. So registered person, every registered person, when the person, any business, if they register under the GST Act, the GST department. So to look after all these works, this is the main board. This is the main board controlling the indirect taxes. That is GST is the main board and implementing the GST. But to look after the work related to the portal, payment of taxes, and all these things from the business people, one network is there called the Goods and Services Network, GSTN, GSTN, Goods and Services Network. It will look after the administration, direct administration. Okay. Now, when you register the GST department, they will allot a registration number. But remember, every registration, that is registration under GST Act, is based on our PAN card. Under the Income Tax Act, everyone will have income, will have a PAN card. So the GST registration is PAN based. That means for the registration of under GST, PAN card is required. So the registration is based on the PAN card number. That means they will give a registration number. So the GST department will allot a registration number to every person registered under the Act. So that registration number includes the PAN card. That includes the PAN card number anywhere. So you can register in our state, in another. You can register in any number of states. We have business in many states. So we can register in any number of states. In every state, our registration is based on the PAN card. So in every state, we have to submit the same. Suppose under the same management, the same company have many branches in different states, the same PAN card of the business, the same PAN card is to be submitted. So the registration is based on PAN card, PAN based, as well as the PAN card is to be submitted, and they will allot the number, it includes the PAN card. So the registration, GST registration, it is called as GSTIN. GSTIN. The name is GSTIN means GSTIN. It is called as GSTIN. It is called as GSTIN. GSTIN means GST identification number, Goods and Services Tax identification number. So this GSTIN, simply it is called as GST number. The GST number contains 15 digits. This is only one, either number or alphabetical. So it includes, that number contains 25 digits only. If you do 26 digits, it will not accept. Only 25 digits. What is the meaning is, in the 15, in the 15 digits, what it contains means, first two digits numbers, numerics. First two digits numbers, it is the state code. Every state will have a code starting with 01, Jammu and Kashmir, 01. So every state will have a number, and in India previously there were 35 states and up to 35 numbers. 28 is Andhra Pradesh, and after division of that, the 28 is closed, that is cancelled, and now for Telangana, Andhra, numbers are allotted after 35. 36 is allotted to Telangana, 37 is allotted to Andhra Pradesh. So now the total number of registrations, the number of state codes are 37. So if there is a single number means it is 01. So 01, 02, up to 09. After 10, 11, 12, up to that. 37 is the last number. So this is the state code. If it is Andhra Pradesh, 36, 37. Telangana, 36. Karnataka, 29. Tamil Nadu, 33. Kerala, 32. Maharashtra, 27. Like this, we can have. So in this, if you go to Google, in the Google site, you get state codes in GST. If you type that, it will show all the numbers with all the states you can get. If you want for any state, so GST number of so and so state, if you give, it will display the number. Okay, you cannot remember all the numbers. So these first two digits are the state code. And then next to 10 digits is the PAN card. This PAN card contains 5 alphabetics, every PAN card, 5 alphabetics, then 4 numbers, then again 1 alphabet. So totally 10, 5 plus 4 plus 1. Total 10 digits in the PAN card. First 4 digits are alphabets, Next first five, sorry. First five digits are alphabets. Next four digits are numerics, numbers. And then again, one alphabet. So in this, the fourth digit, the alphabet, the fourth digit is the indication of the status of the owner. That is, status of the business. So that means there may be human beings, that is individuals. So individual, partnership firm, proprietary business, partnership business, company that contains this. This is the status. That means P is meant for person. Person means it is the number. PAN card is the PAN card holder is an individual. So for proprietary concern also individual proprietary number also will be, there will be no separate number for proprietary concern. So owner's number will be taken. That is why P means person means individual. So the owner's number, this is the PAN card, and it is used for the corporate business also. So P means person, or that is P means person. That means individual or partner proprietary concern. In the case of company, it will be C. In the case of partnership firm, it is called P is their personality. That is why in the case of partnership firm, it is termed as F. C. A means association of person. Local body L. Cooperative society C is already there. So cooperative society, yes, like that. This fourth digit indicates the status of the PAN card holder. And then the next one, last one, that is the one alphabet in our name. That is in the name of the business or person. In the name of the business or person, any alphabet, one alphabet will be taken here. Okay. And at the end again there is one alphabet. That is also another alphabet in the name. So the last fifth one and the last 10th one, two alphabets will be from the name, and the digits numbers will be different. Okay. So this is 10. 2 plus 10, 12. And then next one number will be there. That is 10 state code, 10 PAN, and then one entity code. Here there will be one code for the entity. That one code will be numeric only. So entity code means business organization. Our business, one company, one business. So for this business, code means this is actually another name. Entity code means number of registration, because we can have registration in any number of states on the basis of this PAN card. So on the basis of the PAN card, how many registrations we have in India? That is indicated here. If I only in our state I have business, it is registered. So one will be there. So with the same business, with the same PAN card, I have business in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. So in Andhra also, I have a registration. In such a case, I have two registrations. In both the places, that registration number will have entity code 2. Like this. This is the entity code. And then next one is Z. This Z is called as default digit. Default digit means, so this is default to all the people. So the PAN card, state code, and all this total registration number, the GST number will be different for different people. No two numbers will be same. So each one will be different to different registration. But in all India, for all the registrations in India, the Z will be there. It is there for every registration, because that's why it's called as default. This is a default digit. It will be present in all the registrations. Then the last one, it may be number, or it may be alphabet. Any one, only one. Number or alphabet. This is called as checksum code, because there are some calculations. Up to Z, 14 digits. So for each digit, there is some calculation. On the basis of the calculation of all the 14 numbers, one code will get one code. That code is called as the checksum code. That is, this code, number or alphabet, that will check, that will automatically in the portal, automatically it will calculate, and it will give this checksum code. So if the code is correct, if the total number is correctly given, so this number, this checksum code will calculate, immediately it will calculate, so whether the number is correct or not. That is, the checksum code will check the registration number, whether correct or not. If it is not correct, it will show this number is not correct. If it is correct, it will accept. So like that, there will be 15. 2 plus 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. And what is the use of that? Is many people don't know this about them. Why there is default number for all the people? What is the use? How it is used? What is the use of the default number? Nobody knows, even the chartered accountants also. They don't know. Simply they say, this is default. By default, you'll get it. This is a default digit. But what is the use means? So the total number of digits are 15 only. So this entity code, if you have 5 registrations in India, in 5 states, so the entity code will be 5. If we have 8 registrations in India, on the basis of this form, we have 8 registrations, so the entity code will be 8, means 8 registrations. Suppose there are 9, so my registration entity code will be 9. Suppose I have 12 registrations in 12 states in India. In 12 states, I have the registration. On the basis of this one, I have 12 states, 12 registrations. In such case, how to mention 12? If you give 12, the total number will be 16. Total number will be 16. That is why is that default digit used for the second digit. That is, if the registration entity code contains 2 digits, entity code is, that is, number of registrations are more than 9. That is 2 digits. If the registrations are 12. So what about the second digit? How to indicate? So the second digit will take place of that. In such a case, in this number 1, 2, 12. So instead of that 2 will replace this. So here the total 12 will be there here, and that will not be there. But here, to explain you, I made like this. There should not be any gap without spaces. So after 36, there will be no gaps, no spaces. To tell you, to explain you about these numbers, I made like this. So 36, A, B, C, P, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 1, Z, 5, Z, K. So that will be there without any space. Okay. So this is called as the GST registration. And there are some more items or topics, some more things we have to learn about the tax. Because when you are registration, you have to collect you have to charge the tax on the goods. Okay. So what is meant by the tax and how the tax is charged, and the tax is charged on the basis of the persons. Who are the persons? They are called the persons, that is buyers and sellers. They will be in the state or in some other state. The transaction, sale and purchase transaction may take place depending on the place of transaction and depending on the place of the persons, the place of transaction, as well as what is the tax to be calculated. That's called slab rate. And if the tax is to be calculated on the goods, that is goods is called as in a different name. There is no tax. It is called goods are called. So depending on the nature of goods, depending on the place of supply, that is in the same state, in some other state, place of supply, and the place of the buyer and seller. So we charge the tax. For that purpose, the GST is divided into 3 types, actually 4. These 2 are 1. Out of these 2, any one will be there. So 1, 2, 3. 3 types of taxes, that is called as components of GST. Contains GST means GST contains 3 components. So out of these 3 only, we have to collect the tax. So what is the meaning of that? Depending on these components depend on the sale or purchase, that is the place of transaction, the place of the supplier as well as buyer, that is seller and buyer, and also the nature of goods, that is that the tax is to be charged. Some goods are not taxable. So taxable or not taxable goods, depending on the nature of goods, you have to calculate the tax. This will be taken up in the next video. So because it will be a lengthy video, we'll take up in the next video. With this, I stop this. And one thing is, every person just watching the video and going out, so that everyone visiting this channel, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon next to the subscribe button and select all. You will get notification for all the videos which I upload in my channel and share with all the people. As well as important, every video watch till the end. If you skip in the middle, you cannot understand the remaining part. So watch till the end and click the like button. So you like that. If you like that, YouTube people will recommend this video to many people. Okay. So wish you all the best. We will meet in the next video.